myself Vaibhav. In today's session of Visual JForex, I will make you familiarize with the average directional index, the ADX indicator, which is used to determine the strength of the underlying momentum in any given instrument. So we will go into the details of it. We will see how it functions and how we can deploy this indicator to design and build the profitable algorithmic setup on the Visual JForex platform, then which can be run on the live or the demo accounts as you deem fit. So this is the ADX, first of the momentum indicator. Here we have the listing for all the momentum indicators which we will be going through in coming sessions. So we have pretty long list of the momentum indicators here. Now this is the first for getting started with the momentum indicators. So here from this short description you can make out that this indicator mainly deals with the strength of the momentum. The direction is not decided by this indicator. We have to use other two indicators, the minus directional indicator and the plus directional indicator, to get the idea about the direction of the trend, and in conjunction with other these indicator this drive can be used. But for today's session we are mainly concerned with this average directional index, and maybe some other time we will go into the details of other two. So let us go to the Visual JForex platform board developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. Here we add this indicator which is under momentum indicator listing. Here we go. Now for the start point can be any of the three, as I have said in prior sessions as well. Here it's you can read that ADX indicator is simply the average of expanding price range value. So what we do is we see what is the average price range for the underlying instrument, whether it is expanding, whether it is contracting. If the price range is expanding, that means the underlying instrument is trending, and if the price range is contracting, that means the underlying instrument is losing strength of the momentum. And that's how we use this indicator called ADX. We use this to determine the strength, and for that, how to use it, we will also plot this on the chart, so it will be a lot easier for you to understand. Here all you have to do is quick search, and here it comes, average directional movement index, ADX. Now as per its developer, we have to kind of pay attention to some key values here, and in traditional wisdom it is considered that if the ADX value is above 25, that means underlying instrument is trending, and if the ADX value is below 25, that means there is no trend, or the trend is pretty weak in the underlying instrument. And if the value is below 20, that means we should simply stay out, as there is no strong trend and it won't be worthwhile to trade in such an environment. And also one other aspect of this is that when the ADX value shoots up significantly in very short span of time, say 4 or 5 points in a couple of hours, that also means that the underlying instrument is gaining strength. And as I said, here the ADX shoots up considerably in very short time, but the indicator is neutral to the direction of the trend, and we don't really get an idea whether the instrument is in the downtrend or in the uptrend. All the ADX does is that it gives us when the range of the average prices is on rise, and when the average price range is contracting. So that's all we get to know with the use of the ADX. But the main utility of this indicator is that it will save us the trades when the underlying instrument is trading only sideways. So rather than getting involved during the consolidation phase, more or less we will be getting involved in the trading positions only when the underlying instrument is trending, and that increases the chances of making good amount of money, as we are getting involved when the momentum is there, when the price action is strong, and also the determination of the trend can be done with the help of other indicators. So if we use this ADX indicator in conjunction with other trend finding indicator, then we can pretty much determine the direction of the trend as well as the strength of the trend, and as they say, trend is your friend. So we can find the trading opportunities with the trend, and that will of course increase our probability, increase the possibility of we ending up with profits in any given trade. So that's how this ADX indicator is used. And generally speaking, whenever the ADX value starts to decline, that means the underlying momentum might be waning, and it might be better for us to adapt and wait and watch approach till the ADX values begin to rise again. So that way also we can use this indicator to simply determine what is the time to get involved, and when is the time to sit on the sideline. So here this indicator is of high importance, and it is also one of the preferred tools of many of the chartists, many of the technical analysts who have to figure out when to go for fresh trading opportunities and when to hold back. So here on the Visual JForex platform, we have this ADX indicator block. Here we have the info section. You can go through this info whenever you feel confused or whenever you need clarity on its functioning and how it is designed. Then we have to come to the input values. We have to define the input parameters to get the appropriate output parameter, and of course input parameters depend on what instrument we are trading on. If the instrument is Euro USD, then we get it as the default instrument. If any other instrument you want to use for trading setup, then of course you have to change that value. And here we have the listing, and you can take these instruments to design the algorithmic setup. For example, in today's session, let's go with the GBP USD, and let me change this chart to the GBP USD as well. So here we have this GBP USD, and as you can see earlier, that is yesterday, we had the ADX values below 25 and they were pretty much flat, but then the momentum shot up, and here in couple of hours we saw ADX rising from around 22 levels to about 25. That was the start of the trend, and here as you can see, for next couple of hours it continued with the same momentum, and now the momentum is waning. So here we have these ADX values which are on the decline, and as I said, it is indicative of the fact that momentum is on the decline. So that's how we can use this GBP USD's chart with the ADX indicator. Now coming to the board, here we have to choose the appropriate time period as well. For today's session, let us go with the 1 hourly time frame. You have all the options from 10 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hourly, 4 hourly, daily, weekly, and monthly. We will choose hourly. Coming to the shift is the look back period. If it is 0, that means we are not going back in time, we are taking into account the current hour's value, the current output. If we go back in time, say by 2, then we have to choose shift 2, and we will have the value 2 candlesticks period back. So that's how it is. Now the candle period is of 1 hour, that means if the shift is 2, we will be going back in time by 2 hours, and we will be taking into consideration the ADX value prevalent at that point in time. Now coming to the time period for calculation, here the last 14 candlesticks are used to determine the average price action, and then based on that we calculate the ADX. If you want the ADX value for larger time frame, you can do that. All you have to do is edit this ADX value and you will get the ADX value for the desired time period. So here if I change this to say 30, I can pretty much change it, but it should work well. So here we have the last 30 hours ADX value, and it's been quite a while since we saw the ADX value shooting up beyond 25 on the chart of this ADX indicator of time period 30. It was in the middle of August, and then as the price action has waned, we saw the ADX declining, and now again it has entered into a phase where it is in expansion phase, but the ADX value is still below 25, and that means there is no strong trend as per the 30 hours ADX time frame. Now here as you go on lengthening the ADX time period, you will see the values tend to be less and lesser than the shorter time frame ADX values. That's because you have to see that the change in any hour is likely to be less compared to the price band which we have created for longer time periods. So because of that, the ADX values don't tend to fluctuate too much. If the time period is shorter, then of course the fluctuation in the ADX will be a lot higher. Here I will explain to you by editing this. So if we simply go by for the time period of 10, here we have these frequent moves on the either side. The ADX value is more or less trying to stay above 25 or is staying above 25 for ADX of last time period. So that's how it works. So you have to see what is the optimum time period for you to utilize for your algorithmic setup. The default value of course tends to be 14, and that is also a good enough combination, but as I said, it's always up to the developer to see what are the values he wants to work with. Then coming to the output value, of course this is the ADX, and the output value can be put in any if and else statement or any mathematical calculation, or to simply do the comparison between the prior values. And there are many combinations which can be developed with the use of this ADX indicator. And of course the ADX values also tend to kind of vary depending on which applied price is being used for calculation. Suppose if it is closed price, then you will have the ADX calculation slightly different than say ADX which is calculated on the lower value. So here we input okay, here we will have to so as it seems we don't really get the editing option in this JForex platform, but we have the options on the Visual JForex platform. So here you can of course experiment and see what is the value which is likely to bring you the optimum result, and depending on that you can choose the appropriate applied price for the calculation of the ADX. And of course because there is a spread, we have this bid and the ask side, and also ADX will slightly vary depending on how it is calculated, whether on the bid side or on the ask side. So that's it from my session for today, and of course we will be back tomorrow with the ADXR indicator. So for the time being, for today, you can try to develop these algorithms based on the ADX and see how it goes. So till then, have a fabulous time ahead. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.